Hello everyone, my name is Chloe and welcome back to my YouTube channel if you're just tuning in. Um, Thanks for watching. Today I'm going to introduce what I've been working on is my new server, which yes, I've been setting up my own server and it's been taking me a while and it's still a huge work in progress. Um, The idea behind my server is to invite people on a whitelist into the server and allow everyone to build, but collaboratively for a city that functions off the railroad system and also has universal city utilities like water and electric and so forth. So my goal is to find people and invite them into this server and have them all build things that will feed into the system. And so far it's been going pretty good. Now what you're looking at right now is my uranium and plutonium refinery. If you've watched any of my other videos, you might have seen the one called the Industrial Craft Chillers. And I was building a nuclear power plant. Why do I keep going into these trees? It's because the POV is zoomed out or zoomed in so you can see a good look at this from the distance. But anyway, what I've done here is I'm working on a, a plutonium and uranium refinery where all uranium and plutonium from Gregtech, from Industrial Craft, from Nether Ores, from any other mod will all universally be processed here. Now this is just for plutonium and uranium ores only. And I've built a very great elaborate machines that I'm very excited to show you. And I'm actually going to make a mini video series on each one of these machines you're about to see. And I'm just so excited to show you because I've worked very hard on making them all work. And I'm really excited to show you my uranium refinery here, which ties in with my nuclear power plant later. So let's get started. And before I do, let me go ahead and set the point of view here out a little bit so we can, let's go to 100, so we can better see and control things here. Now, one thing I want to highlight before I get going, if you've if you're looking at this nuclear blast door, and you're wondering, oh my God, wow, that's so cool. Where did you get that? Well, you would be in luck to see this video because this is an exclusive thing that I had made for me by a mod designer by the name of Mage Protocol, and the mod is called Shutters mod, like the shutters on your window. And it's an older mod, but I contacted him, had him upgrade the mod and make it so it had a blast door. And the criteria was that the blast door had to be nuclear blast resistant. And I wanted it to match the Gregtech color schemes of the same, yellow, black, and mustard orange colors. So these are the exact same colors that will match the Gregtech black and yellow striped blocks in his set. So I've got it rigged up to a button here so we can go on in. And of course we want to shut that because we don't want any contaminants go out. Okay, so welcome to my refinery. I know, it's so awesome. I get in here and I just have like goosebumps. I can't believe I built this sometimes. And I'm not trying to break my arm patting myself on the back, but I really went above and beyond on this and I spent a lot of time on building this place. And what's really cool about it is what you don't see right now. Down inside these floors, there's just all kinds of mechanics. And inside these machines, these machines, they don't just look good. They are shaped and colored, and everything has a purpose of why they are the way they are. And there's a lot of thought behind each one of these systems. So before we get started, I just want to point out a few basics of what to look for and why it's doing what it's doing. Okay, so on all my machines, you'll notice at the top, they have a yellow light on all of them. They all have a yellow lamp. None of them are lit because we're not running any ores right now. And on the sides, there's green lights. Now those lights are not tied to each other. What these means is the yellow lights means that the machine is drawing electricity from whatever it's doing. It's needing to draw some electricity. So electricity is being used. If a green light is flashing, that means the machine has activity. That means there's something it's got material or fluid or something that it's processing. So that's a process light. And some of these machines are four-sided. That doesn't mean that they're all doing the exact same thing. Take these, for example. These things I'm most proud of. These things are incredible the way they work. Okay, using the advanced fluid solidifiers from Gregtech, what I've managed to do with these things is incorporate it using a lot of buildcraft and industrial craft stuff, and I've come up with these little designs here. And what these do is on these two sides, this one and this one, they process uranium 235, and on this machine and the back machine, they process uranium 238. And the same thing over here. These two do plutonium 241, and these two, this one and this one over here, do plutonium 244. And it takes the dust and extracts them into liquid form, and that liquid is then placed and goes in here and creates nuggets. And the only reason I'm processing them into nuggets is because, well, there's a limitation with Railcraft, and I wanted to ship everything out liquid over to the nuclear plant, so we could the nuclear plant needs this material so it can turn it into nuclear fuel to power the reactors. So I had to ship it via nuggets, and that created challenges. So I had to have two different types of nuggets. I got 231 or 235 and 238 uranium, and 241 and 244 plutonium. And so it's really cool. I've made it so there's a huge ME system in here. There's all kinds of levers and stuff in here because I wanted to leave some feel of model train railroading in. So there's actually jobs for people to click levers and load the loaders, but I can put it in autopilot too. I had to create it so that it doesn't overload things, and there is limitation. It won't just flood the system. I didn't want that. So let's just say I throw this stack out of here. Whoops. Then you throw that stack in there. See, it's not reloading. Let me just get some of this all out of here. See, it's not reloading. Right now we've got some 235 in there, but let's say I want to ship some 238 in there. Okay, I'd have to come over here and watch this. When I click this, you can notice that this one is going down, and it's loading my loader with some 238. Now at the same time, this machine in here is making some more 238. These two machines right here are making some replacement 238, and these one back here, I think I might have told you wrong, but these ones back here would make 235. Right now it's replacing that 238 that I'm making in the system. And what I didn't want to happen was it making tons and tons of nuggets and just storing them in a ME drive. Because let's face it, there's other things you can do with this liquid, and I can ship it through my ME system to do other things like make tooling, make armor, make all kinds of other stuff that will come down the pipe. But I didn't want to turn it all into nuggets, so I've built that into the system. Now, let's go back out here real quick. Shut that back down. Okay, and you should see that go back up and stop around 100, 102, somewhere right in there. And the machine inside will stop as well. And it just gets up to that point, and we're done. Okay, yeah. So you can see in here, I've now got 235 and 238 multiply loaded into the buffer. And I've got a filter in here so the train car only takes one nugget of 238 and one nugget of 235. Because I want to give the train something to do. I don't want them just to haul a huge load over there and then have nothing to do. So I wanted to make some really cool setup stuff. I've got all kinds of train madness going right now. And let's just say I wanted this red train to come in here. All right, what I've done is I've got all kinds of electronics hooked up down below, which is still a huge work in progress. Let me go down here and show you some of the mechanics. Now I know that Railcraft has a huge setup that you can do routing tables and all that stuff with tickets. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to add the challenge of creating, just like you would a model railroad system, I wanted to be able to put in circuits and so forth that control everything. So this is not finished. I'm going to put covers over the wires and make it all look nice and everything. But underneath my entire city, I have created tunnels that are for monitoring the buildings and monitoring the train systems and so forth. Like you can see down here is the nuclear refinery, and this is the basement. And of course, I have installed elevators. If you've never seen these before, this is open blocks, and I've created a little standard for myself. Let me just show you my standard for my city. If you join my server, this is what I ask everybody to use if they're using the elevator pads. What I've created here is a standard that you can just all understand when you come into my city. If you see them somewhere, you know you can go up or down. So the way it works is if you see a pad with green dots, you know you're on the ground level and you can only go up. If you see one with red, you know you're on the top level and you can't go any higher, you can only go down. If you see one with white, that means you can go up or down. So just keep that in mind when you're traveling around in my city. Okay, I've also installed an aquifer out here, of course, because some of the machines require water, and that will come on. It's all automated, and it's just freaking sexy as hell. I know. It's awesome. All right, so let's go back to the machines here. I got on a little tangent there. I want to take you up first and show you how the system gets its refinery, or its ore. Now this is an observation room in here. Normally you would not be down where the uranium is and plutonium because unless you're in a suit that you wouldn't get sick. But up here you can monitor all activity of the machines just like scientists would, and you don't have to worry about contamination. These are my little lights. I just made them because they look cool, but they look like they're nuclear. So if you like that design, there you go. It kind of reminds me of some like the original Xbox One. Just that design. I don't know why. It just does. And I decided to stick with the green glass theme. And using Tinker's MechWorks, I used the drawbridge portion of the mod to create this door. So that's Tinker's MechWorks that does that, which is an add-on to Tinker's Construct. And notice we have a pad here, and I'm at the red, so that means I can only go down. Now, all my machines, and even that loader that's down below for the train, is all controlled right here. But you're saying, Chloe, where's all the controls? Ha-ha! You know I'm better than that. Check it out. Yeah! Check it out. It looks like the inside of a new Honda Civic, doesn't it? I'll tell you what, give me 10 pounds of crap and I'll stick it in a 5-pound box. That's just what I do, folks. Here we go. So the way it's going to work is I'm going to have in my city little places set up for people to take the things that they mine and throw them, if they want, into a collection system that will have ender chests inside. And it'll give them other things that they want back in return. So that stuff will be sucked up into the ender chest system. In this case, this place here collects uranium and plutonium, and they'll be brought into these boxes. And then my system here sucks it up into the ME system. And you can see in here that, well, I've processed other stuff inside here. Not sure why there's trains in there. I think I was just storing them in there. Anyway, you can see that I've got my nuggets that you saw on the screens down there. It looks like we've got some dusts that have been processed from different ores. Now, what will happen is if the ender chests get some ore, let's just throw some in there. It doesn't matter which. Let me get some uranium-235. Let me get a stack of that. Okay, it doesn't matter what kind. I've actually programmed these things to interact with any type. Let me just go with the Gregtech. Let me go with the Gregtech, this ore here, the black one. Okay. Now I'm going to throw these in there, and what's going to start to happen is my machines downstairs are going to start processing things. And you'll see This would take the place of say someone in the city throwing their uranium into an ender chest collection system, and watch, it'll be sucked out. See, it's starting to be sucked out, and it's now, you won't see it in here either. It's going to start being grafted out here. The machine right downstairs right now is now collecting it up downstairs. And you see these other things, crushed uranium? It's starting to grow inside the system. And that's because there's a machine downstairs crushing this into crushed uranium. Let's go downstairs and take a look at the process. Now, I've designed these machines so they, well, it's going to be loud in there. Let me turn the sound down here. There we go. Let me go downstairs here. You can actually see all the machines starting to work, and you can observe them from up here. Notice that we've got lights on things, of course. It's blinking and doing stuff. Let's go downstairs and take a look, and I'll describe what's going on. I think we can do better on that sound. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So this machine here is where the ores first come. You can see they've been sucked into here, and they're being crushed. And we're getting all kinds of byproduct. Okay, we're getting the uranium-235 crushed, plus in here we're getting some other stuff, some different dusts. Now the crushed uranium comes over to here into my advanced ore washer, and now we're getting purified uranium crushed ore. The purified uranium crushed ore will come back here. Now this machine does a double duty. Right now it's still busy with my uranium, but watch when I pull this out of there. Let me get this all out of there. See there? It's now bringing my purified uranium over from the system into there. And now that purified uranium, it's making purified dust. That purified dust and other things will come over to these machines over here. This one, for instance, right now is running. It is now going to take the pile of purified uranium. You'll see here, we'll get as soon as this one goes. These machines ones are not fast. We got now a nice pile of dust. Those come over here to this machine, and in this machine what we're going to get is it's going to take the uranium dust piles, the purified uranium dust piles, and it's going to liquefy them. And it's going to take that liquid, let's wait for one to come in here. You can see down in the buffer here it's filling up with tiny piles. There's a big pile. Yep, there it goes. Those come over here and fill these tanks over here for this machine. Now that's pretty much the end of the process unless the train draws some nuggets out, and then the machine has to make more nuggets. However, if these tanks fill up, and which they all are, I've created a backup system for downstairs. Check it out. If I go down to the basement using the elevator, you can see down here I've got my tanks all set up already. And let's go over here to the 235. Oops, there we go. You can watch my uranium-235 count going up. There it goes. It's filling up more. And this system is really cool because if when those nuggets are made upstairs on the machines upstairs, they first take the liquid out of those tiny little tanks. Then these auxiliary tanks down here replenish those tanks up top. How do I do that? I use the ME system. And using the ME system from Applied Energistics and an add-on mod called Extra Cells for the Applied Energistics mod, I'm able to control fluids through my ME system. And that's how I'm doing it. I'm using the ME fluid storage buses on these tanks that are from the pressure pipes mod. And that's what these do. Now these panels are not standard on these tanks. Those panels are from a mod called, what is that? It's Nuclear Control 2 is what it's called. And it's an add-on for Industrial Craft 2. So yeah, Nuclear Control 2. And those panels are called the Advanced Information Panels. if you're looking for them. And I just stuck them on there because you can make them flat paneled, which is really cool. Anyway, my water is all drafted from here. And you can see that my machines up top are using the water. My ore washer uses water. And to get more water, all I do is replenish it like that. And now my water is going to go up. See that? It's now filling more water. And we can actually see the aquifer outside. Let me go back outside. It gets loud in here and these all these machines running. Okay. Yep, you can see my aquifer is running now. And there we go. It's all filling up nicely. And I'm using a aqueous accumulator from thermal expansion to do that. And of course, it's all wired in down there and all that good stuff. So yeah, so this is the building. Pretty cool. And we're building a dock. And we're going to have a big boat out there and all that good stuff. And you can watch the trains coming in. I've got a train buffering system right here. The trains can't all stack up on each other and can't. They're all spaced out nice and perfect. See, that one stops, and then that one gets up right behind it, and then it stops. As that other train goes, the other one will be allowed to move forward. Give it a couple seconds. There it goes. Now that one's going to wait while the other one goes down there and refuels itself. Gives it a few seconds. It's fueled, and now the other train will get going here. And you can set that with timers and everything. Now I've got all this kind of dug up still right down here because I'm still working on this. This little guy right here is what's causing me some problems. This I just tore it all back up and I had it all wired right, or wired somewhat, but it wasn't right. So I'm redoing it. This is a problem with Red Power, Railcraft. There is no tool that can solve this problem other than writing a program in Computercraft. And the problem is that, well, I want the two trains that come to this point right here. Let's just say there's two trains, and they're both on this pad, these detector pads. What should happen is that those decide which train can go first. And it also holds the trains over here in these lanes, in the incoming lane, so they can go out. Now the problem I'm having is that I don't want always one side to always be the first one that gets to go. I want it to take turns. So there is no randomizer that works well to do that. It's a gate that needs to be invented. And I've actually already drawn pictures and drafted it all out, and I'm sending it over to the Project Red developer to see if I can get it added. So basically what I want to do here is I want to create a Red Power or a Project Red gate that can be an A or B gate. So what I mean is when I power it, when it gets a signal, it randomly chooses A or B, and it holds it on. It doesn't just keep pulsing between A and B outputs. So there is no such thing, and the only way to do it is with Computercraft. I know that's a little more detailed than you're probably wondering. What the hell is that she talking about? Well, that's just stuff. But I'm going to get that. I'm going to get that invented. I've also got like detectors all through here, so like things like this. These will go orange when a train comes through here. All that good stuff. Of course, we got to have that cool stuff. Now you're probably wondering, where does all this uranium go? Where did all these things go? Well, if you saw my other build, yeah. Oh, check out the Asian pagoda out there. We've got a whole Asian island. I'll get to that in a minute. We've got a whole thing over there going on. This is just the building. I just want to give you a fly around. Now, the reason I didn't put this whole uranium processing center where my power plant is because, well, first of all, it's server lag. Everything I do, I'm very server conscientious of lag. I want to be able to keep, things going. And with this amount of trains and this amount of Project Red stuff and lighting, it gets very laggy. So you have to have a good computer, but you also have a good server. And I'm using hosthorde.com for my server, and I'll tell you, it's really awesome, and it's cheaper and better than anyone else's. But anyway, Here's the power plant, and it's not done yet, but I've been working on it. And see how much lag there is from, there's just so much stuff here that it has to load. And it's not because my server's slow, it's because my Mac computer is a little slow with the recording software. And I'll try to fly around and get it all lit up here so you can see everything the way it should be seen. Okay, so you can see these trains are coming in now into the depot. And I could just throw this down here and it'll detect that a train's in there. It won't let that train go. That's because it thinks there's a train coming right there. And I'll just delay these trains up a little bit and keep that little car right there. But you can see, we'll stack some trains up and you can see what you can see here. See there? They're all going to stop and wait. Now this eventually will be a big, huge building like I built over there for the refinery, but I'm going to have a lot more stuff going on over here. These are, if you want to see my builds for my fluid nuclear reactor and all that stuff, stick around. I'll show you that stuff later. I've already kind of hinted at it in my industrial craft chillers video. But yeah, this is where it's all going to come. And then so the green trains come in and the red trains come in to deliver uranium and plutonium. That's why they're green and red trains. And what they'll do is this over here, there'll be stuff that collects it up, and down inside there'll be machines that process the nuggets and the rest of the process to turn it into nuclear fuel and nuclear rods. Now notice I've got the red train and the green trains are all packed up, and they're all packing in there. And the red trains all know where to go, and the green trains all know where to go, and it knows it can go forward. And it'll stop up here as well. They'll start stockpiling. We'll just let these trains come on in here. Now again, I'm holding these trains. I'm able to stall these trains in here because I've set a cart in this section of track. And the reason it stopped it is because there's detectors in that section. And it says, basically, if there's a train coming in this point right here, do not allow more trains to come in. So it's a safety mechanism. So you can see them all stacking up in here. We'll just let them all come in here. We'll see. I want to show you how this all works. Okay. And actually, this is really smart because if I had more red and green trains, and say this one is full and there is no more room, the system is smart enough to say, there's no more room for a green train to come in, let it go by. But there is more room for a red train to come in, so let it come on in. And I think that's all my trains. I don't know if I've got any more or not, but if I did, you would see that. I think that's all of my trains right there. But it would not open up for any more. Let me see. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. There's no more. Okay, so let's watch all the trains exit. In fact, I think I could take a red train right here and just show you. Okay, let me show you here with a red train. Now that I've made these little detectors here and I put the red on there. If I put a red train on this section, normally you would see this open up. But since there's a train right here and there is no more room for another train to come in, it will not open up. Watch. See, it did not open up. There we go. All right, so let's let these trains out, shall we? Watch how they go out in a nice, orderly fashion. All right, I'm going to take and get rid of this cart, and you're going to start to see that's it. Train says, there's nothing coming. I can go now. And you'll start to see them all coming out in a nice fashion that's orderly and neat. And I've got everything timed out. I'm not just letting them pour out. There are state cells in there that say, hey, wait 15 seconds and let it go out. Now, let me move in the field of view here for you so you can see. Okay, here's my problem. And I'm still working on this. And that's what I was talking about earlier with computer craft. Notice all the green trains are being let out. That is because I had to prioritize that lane. It's the only way I can figure out how to make it work. What I wanted to do is randomly choose. I want it to go, okay, the green one just went out, now let the red one out. And there are ways to do this with red power and making huge circuits to do it and logic. And I have been able to figure out one way, but it's not 100% foolproof. And what happens is sometimes it accidentally lets two trains go at once. So the way to avoid two trains coming out at once is to let one be the priority lane. I want to correct this, and this is what I was talking about. I need a new gate invented, a new red power gate from Project Red that will be basically an A or B gate is what it's called, what I'm calling it, and it randomly chooses A or B, but it doesn't keep sitting there pulsing back and forth between A or B. It just goes, oh, I got a red power signal from the on the input, and now I'm going to choose A or B, and I'm going to keep it on until the next time it's powered again. And that would solve my problem right there. And it would solve so many different problems. But the current randomizer that Project Red has is basically, in my opinion, basically useless, because all it does is it sits there and it keeps pulsing, from when it gets an input signal, it just keeps outputting a pulse to all its outputs randomly and continuously. It doesn't hold any. So it needs different modes. It needs different ways to configure it. Okay, so yeah, so this is where I'm at with my server. And if you're wondering what all these are, these are steam kinetic generators. They take the hot liquid and they're producing power right now. And I think my nuclear reactor is running. Let me see here. Oh, not on the pad. There we go. Yeah, I've just got it zoomed. Yeah. Field of view. Let me turn that back up. I know people hate Quake Pro field of view, but I'm running on a 32-inch cinema screen, Mac screen, and for me, this field of view is normal, so I apologize if it's not your cup of tea. But anyway, these are my observation rooms down to my nuclear fluid reactors. And it's not finished, but it's coming along. It shows the blades that are for that you need replacement turbine blades, and it shows my different fuels rods that are available. Down here will be the space where all the machines are made. And right now you're wondering what all these little things are up here. These are AFSUs, and they're storing power. Right now I'm getting power in here, and that's from those steam generators up top. This is just hanging here right now just temporarily until I get things going. This is what my decontamination chambers are going to look like when they're all finished. Notice it's closed right now and it's locked down. That's because the reactor is running. But if I turn the reactor off, which I have conveniently hooked up to a remote, let me click that. There we go. The reactor is now off and everything opens up. And you go in and you can run your reactor. Now normally these lights and everything pulse and do all kinds of different cool stuff and everything, but I have those on override switches right now, so they're not running. Let me show you. I have this still dug out so you can get behind the system and see all the wiring and stuff, but I have, there we go. Let me turn these on here. Sometimes, I don't know why, but sometimes the lag is so bad I can't fly. Okay, so notice when I turn those switches on now, when I turn the reactor on, you're going to see pulsing. Okay, so now you have a light display. And I've made the light display overrideable just in case there's too much lag, but then the nuclear reactor will still run. So it just gives you that really cool shock and awe look. But this is my reactor here. And my train. It's pretty cool. And all the trains are coming in. And believe me, this thing's going to get way more elaborate. You're going to see all the nuggets flowing in. You're going to see all the machines running. You're going to see lots of, really slick wiring and piping. Of course, that's what I do. And there's tunnels under everything. And I hope to get a better computer by then, so I can start to really expand it out. But if you have a beefy computer and you don't mind waiting for Gregtech to load, which takes about 7 to 10 minutes for Minecraft to load the first time, um, I'd love to have you join my server and join us in here. I would ask for a little bit of credentials, like, what's your skill level? Are you comfortable? Are you trustworthy? Put a lot of work into it. Of course, I do back the server up all the time, but hey, this is YouTube. I don't know anyone. And I just love to have some really enthusiastic people that are wanting to contribute, have fun with a collaborative build like this. Imagine the possibilities. I'm going to start adding electric trains. That was my original idea for building the reactor. It was going to power the city and power everybody's stuff with a universal power system, power electric rails. Right now I've only got the one line running, but this inner line right here, this one, this is going to be an electric side. So all the stuff on this side will be electric. I may even combine them for extra difficulty, trying to add in electric with the coal steam trains and so forth. But yeah. So that's where I'm at, and I know there's so much more work to do. That's kind of where I'm with things right now. Let me go over here really quick and just show you the work we've been doing. Another person, one of my friends, she has been working on the Asian island. Let me take you over here. Yeah, man, I'm going to turn that nuke off. Okay, there we go. As soon as that nuke goes off, wow, everything just speeds right up. Let me show you the Asian island here. There it is. She's just really been working her heart out on this. It's really cool. It's got ships and a port. And so she's getting really good at building with detail. But now she wants to get into the wiring and the machines and so forth. So she's looking for a creative way to incorporate all that into her Asian building style. She loves the pagodas and the so forth. I think it's just really wickedly cool over here. I feel like I've been transported to some Asian palace somewhere when I climb up these things here. And you step in and up. She's got an elevator and screen, so I know I can go up. And am I seeing it? She may have it blocked. I wonder if she's not. Oh, there it goes. Okay, yeah. Here we're inside the pagoda. Yep. Let's take a fly around outside here. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Now it looks like there's some stuff going on in the back here. She needs to make a jade palace. It's really cool. Yeah, let's go down here once. She looks like she's starting to build a factory out here of some kind. She's messing around with some industrial craft stuff, it looks like. Yeah, this is she's going to be making turbines. She wants to export turbine blades for the refinery or for the nuclear power plant. So we're going to have a shipping system, and I want to use the new Railcraft bridge. It's got laser rails, so the laser rails will go out and connect to the island, and then they'll retract when there's no train around. So that'll be really cool to see. That'll be really cool to see. Yeah, you know what? Let's make that train come in here. Now I could do this, and now what that does is it doesn't power the switch itself. What it does is it adds a condition to the detector. It says, red? Sure. If it's red, let it in. So it'll let it in. There we go. I'm going to turn that off because I don't want any other train going through. And I don't have this finished, so I may have to help it through here by using some lever action. I think was my problem on there. Yeah, I just have some things done temporarily. Yeah, you can see that train right there. It's going to collide. if I don't. And I don't have that worked out yet. So the timing and everything needs worked on. And I have other things up here that will help anti-collision. I've made train sequencers. Basically, if they get too close to each other like that, it'll resequence them out. I can show you that right here. You can see those trains are getting pretty close. So up here it's going to hit a train sequencer. That's one of them right there. And what happens is it allows it to roll over this one, and then this one, and then this one. Oops, a little lag here. Sorry. There we go. What is going on here? Okay, so those should space out. Why it's so laggy? Must be my recording software. Okay, you can see those trains resequenced themselves, and they did not allow the red train to follow the green train into its lane. You got to keep that stuff spaced out. I apologize for that. It's just getting a little chunky there. Right through here, there's something in here in this chunk that is just like, it's like a meatball in the computer's throat. So anyway, that's where I'm at, guys. And I hope you enjoyed it. I know this wasn't a tutorial. This was more of like, hey, take a look at what I've been doing for the last 2 months. But I'm going to get back to doing my tutorials. I'm a mom, so I get busy. And, I do have some videos made. I just need to edit them and get them up there. Oh, look at this. Our stuff is still going. And I'm going to make a little tiny video series called Little Machine Builder. And in that series, I'm going to show you how block by block to build each one of these machines and how they work and do that. So if you like Gregtech and industrial craft and whatever, and you don't just like setting these boring blocks down and have the machine process, but you want it to actually look like a real machine of some sort, then you're going to want to check out my Little Machine Builder video series. But anyway, this is the beginning of a new series here for this video. This will be basically what's going on in the server. This will be just something I post occasionally as updates are occurring, people building things. I'll make a video and saying here's where we're at and problems I'm working on, and maybe you can add me some comments, some suggestions. I don't claim to know everything or a lot. I just know enough to be dangerous, I say. And I'd love to know more. So thanks again, and please, I know everyone says this, rate and subscribe and everything else, but it really helps my channel out. I noticed that my subscribers gone up to like 400 some here recently, and I'm so excited for that. And thank you for thumbing these videos up, and tell a friend. Thanks a lot. Hope you enjoyed. Have a great week. Take care.